Quilty is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havels Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havels.
Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics.
Hey everybody, this is Quilty. You're a quilter, and so am I, and we're all friends here, and today we're gonna make a block together. This block is called Aspen Frost Stars, or maybe the quilt is called Aspen Frost Stars. The reason that I don't know is not because I didn't look it up. This block will be featured in a quilt that is going into Quilty magazine, and it's kind of a behind the scenes thing that you might be interested in is that sometimes the names of the quilts that we put in change a little bit here and there, because it just recently happened, we had a quilt that was going to be called Topsy Turvy, but guess what? There was already a quilt called Topsy Turvy, so we needed to name it something else. So sometimes names will be adapted for things, and also names of blocks really can be changed. Sometimes you'll see a block that is called, in one book it's called a churn dash, in another book it's called a monkey wrench. This block is going into this Aspen Frost Stars quilt, however it ends up, whatever it ends up being called, but actually this is a pretty traditional block. So it's probably in a couple different books called a couple different things. It may be a variation of broken dishes, or it may be something else. So don't get too confused if you see a block, you're like, hey, I thought that one was called Goose Tracks, and then you find out it's called Goose in the Mud or something like that. Probably not called that, but maybe, you never know. So we're gonna put this block together. I'll show you a few simple things about it, and we're also gonna take a look at what happens when 4 of these big blocks go together. There's a very cool little bonus thing that happens. So first of all, let's take a look at the different quadrants that this block is made up of. Put this over here. We have a 4 patch, very, very simple. On one of the diagonals, we'll move it in here. And then we have these little, well, I don't know, they're kind of like flying, it's like a flying fish. Whee! Flying fish, okay? And then the other flying fish comes in here. Is that right? No, it's not. Well, that's funny actually, because you would actually start getting different, you would get a totally different block. I hope that's not too confusing for you, but this would be a different block than how we actually set it up. Do you see? Just how you turn the pieces makes a difference. Because now, when we do it like this, and that would be another way to set it up, but in fact, it's this guy. Okay, sorry. See, you get like, you could count on like 8 different variations with just 4 quadrants, something like that. It gets exponentially different. So, okay, so you have these different quadrants, and this is how they go together. We are going to, I want to show you how to do one of these half square triangle units right here. We use a 1/2 and 1/4 ruler a lot, and we talk about half square triangles a lot because they show up a lot. So what I want to do, and this is a good example of the different marking pens that you might want to have available. I'm going to show you, there's this fabric marker, okay, and that's a permanent marker, and that's going to be a little bit less good, certainly if you're marking on light fabric, because this isn't really going to wash out very well. If we mark very, very, very lightly on the back of a dark piece of fabric, it's okay. Another option for you is to use a ceramic marking pencil. That's probably what I'm going to use today. That is what I'm going to use today. White ceramic doesn't wash off like chalk so easily. There's chalk markers, there's washable pens, all kinds of different things. And we've done a whole show on marking tools, so check that out if you haven't seen it. But I think today I'll use this ceramic marking pencil, and I will use this 1/4 inch seam marker. And the deal is with this is that you have a line down the middle of this ruler, and that's the center, dead center, and to the right and to the left there's a 1/4 inch on either side of that line. So when you put this down and line up the center line straight through your little square, you mark this side of the ruler, ka-shunk, and then you flip it around and you mark the other side of the ruler. I don't know how well you guys can see this line, but I can. And then you mark the other side, okay? And then you move your yellow line, to one or the other side. And then you do mark down the very, very center, because that's going to be your cutting line, okay? So you're going to sew on the first 2 lines. We're going to do that together, and then you slice it apart, okay? So I'm going to go to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew quickly, okay? Great. Okay, so I'm not using my 1/4 inch foot guide. I'm not using that guide. I'm just going to sew down the line that I drew. Okay. I'm gonna fire the other side through super fast. Wha-bam. And here we go. When you need a lot of one kind of half square triangle, this is a really good way to do it. Great, so I'm gonna set my seam and then slice these puppies apart. Ooh, slicing puppies. Not good. No slicing puppies. Not on this show. Put on my klutz glove. Michael Jackson. Shimon. Okay. Put this down. Slice it apart and wha-bam. And then you take it back to the ironing surface. We're not going to do that just this moment, but you press toward the dark and you have your half square triangles. Simple as that. Great. Cut off your dog ears and you're ready to put together your quadrants. Okay? So then you put your little half square triangle. Yeah, right there. Sew it onto your black patch or whatever colors you're using. Follow your pattern, and then you've got these quadrants going. Okay, so we have one block. These are pretty big blocks. Maybe they're measuring 12 inches even. And then we have another block. I think you can see what's going to happen in the center. The center can hold, and when it does, it forms an extra star. Isn't that cool? So you can just imagine when you have like a whole bunch of these blocks together, like a bunch of them, you're gonna have, it's just a panoply of stars, pieces. I don't know. You're gonna have a lot of really neat things to look at, and your eye's gonna be dancing all over, and it's gonna be so great. And no matter what you call this block or what you call your quilt, it's gonna be really great and lovely. So you should make one, and check out Quilty magazine. There's so many patterns in there, and you could just use it as a jumping off point to do your own color scheme and your own, what if you do flip this thing around, right? What if you do that? What happens? All kinds of things happen. Well, maybe the same thing happens. You're just seeing a different part of it. Okay, you get the idea. Thanks for watching Quilty. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Quilty is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havel's Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havel's.
Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics.